Hey there, everybody out there in Hey everybody out there in YouTube land. It's Rob the History Smith here with some getting kind of old history, but also some modern fun history. So what are we looking at here today? A lot of you can probably already identify. You got an MP5, and you have the Mp5Sd, so suppressed. But that's not what we're looking at technically. Technically what we're looking at is an Mp5 Airsoft and a Gsg16 that has been slightly modded with some 3D printed parts, and I'll go over those details and the function of these, and we'll do a little bit of testing with this one. Not this. I live in a city, so shooting the place up is not a good idea. This ain't GTA 5, and if it was, it's still not a good idea in GTA 5. By the way, GTA 6 looks amazing coming out. So, we'll start with this guy. You'll notice in a lot of my videos, I always say when I'm dealing with a firearm, it's been proven safe. And so I'm going to show you how to do that because I've never actually done it on YouTube. And this is a prime example of something where you might want to learn that, because this is pretty much a beginner's plinker gun. So to prove a gun safe, always point in a safe direction. Remove the magazine. I say check it. It's not part of it, but check it, see if there's any ammunition in there. That's going to give you an idea to be extra careful if you see any ammo in there. What you do is you, in this case, the charging handle's there. So you do that once or twice to make sure there's anything in there has been cleared. So now that it's clear, you lock the bolt open. And in this case, you look down in here and you can see the little hole opening. I don't know if you guys can see it trying, but right down in there is the, I don't know where my pointy things are. I'll have to use this pointy thing. Where am I? Sorry guys. Right in there is the chamber. And if there was any projectile in there, you would see it. And if you can't necessarily see all that well, you can try to feel. But honestly, in this case, seeing is your better option. So you check to make sure there's nothing in the chamber. And check the ammunition racket. And once, oh yeah, put it on safe. If you can. Not all firearms can, but put it on safe. That's another tip that you should always do. And even when you're done, assume it's loaded. And if you're going to pass this off to somebody, you pass it off to them in this state with the chamber open. Now, not every gun locks open. Majority of them do. So there's the basics on proving a gun safe. I'll probably bring up a little, well, you'll see it at the beginning, the steps for proving a gun safe. All right, I'm going to put this one aside, and then we're going to concentrate on the MP5 clone first. So this is an MP5 clone. The MP5 started development in 1964 and completed development in 1966 and was adopted by the German police as the HK64. I'll bring up an example of that. So why did Heckler & Koch make the MP5 to begin with? Well, it's a personal defense weapon. It's really meant for the same role as the modern MP90, which is not that modern, or the classic Uzi. So pistol caliber submachine gun, compact, easy to carry inside tanks, motorized vehicles, things where you don't necessarily need a full rifle. Heckler & Koch made their big bucks really off the G3. I know they've been around a while, but the G3 is the modern history of Heckler & Koch. I keep saying Koch, but whatever. So we'll take a look at this one here, and we'll see how it differs. So you have the classic diopter sight, which is nice. One of my favorite little features on this. You have the front post, the ring sight. This one you have a cocking handle on, but doesn't actually do anything. And I've been told that if you slap these guys here, this is a Kraken. If you slap them, they tend to break. My experience with the Krakens and stuff like that, they're pretty much just copies of Tokyo Maru. So a really good gun. I've added the claw rail, which is technically a real item, but I believe it's probably counterfeit from China, because I don't know why Walthers would be making a claw mount for a Heckler & Koch gun. You have the shoulder stock. In this case, for some reason, this one doesn't lock. I don't know why. I don't know if it's supposed to, but there's no recoil on an airsoft gun, so it doesn't really matter. But you do have the little paddle there, so you can activate it as normal. The safety is the same shape as the MP5. There's no markings on here because this gun had to be touched up and the markings came off. You have 6mm airsoft there. There's not a lot to it. You have the nice paddle release, and you have the button release. So that beats over some MP5 clones already, just in manual of arms. This has the Trilog adapter. It had a muzzle flash suppressor. I don't remember what I did with it, but I took it off like day one when I got this years and years ago. You can hear a lot of these parts are actually metal, which is nice. Some of them are plastic. The magazine is over here. This is the magazine. Like most of these airsoft guns, it's got a little wheel on the bottom for charging up the BBs in there. You can actually see one poking out. Filling it, pull back on that. Nice thing about this is, I don't know why it's not included, but right here you can stack two 9mm. Obviously you'd want to do dummy rounds, not the real thing, but you can stack two 9mm there, and it gives it a completely authentic look. This little coupler here is metal, but it's fake, so you can't take it off and use it on anything else. It's just airsoft only. These two magazines are connected, so it's essentially one large hopper for your rounds. So when it comes to realistic round count, doesn't really exist on this. You can load it to be realistic if you want. I'll show you guys some speed tests, but I'll give you single shot, full auto. So not bad at all, I would say. Accurate, yes. All the little sling mounts, everything is pretty darn precise to what we would call a modern MP5. This guy here being airsoft is battery powered. There's no disassembly. All these pins here are screws. It's not meant to be taken apart. There's no reason to take it apart other than maybe oiling or upgrading. I have a little bit of plastic wrapped here because I'm an 80s kid. So the battery is under here. That's the only pin that works. And there's your battery. I think most people would probably upgrade these to lithium, but you're going to be changing the cyclic rate. I know Kraken's very good at making accurate cyclic rates on their airsoft guns, so you can use them for police training and stuff like that. Their AK-47, which I will give you a review on in the future, still needs some modification. Like a lot of these things, I tend to try to upgrade them when possible. Not the hardest thing to put back together, but not the easiest thing either. As you can see, getting these pins to line up can be a pain. Alright, back together. Okay, MP5 chronograph speed test. Alright, so obviously full auto is faster than semi-auto. Interesting to know, shall we say. So that's the MP5 clone. Like I said, it was basically came into service in 1966. It's been slowly upgraded and improved. This is definitely an upgraded and improved version, but it's that classic MP5. And I got a little treat for you guys. We'll do some testing on a target. Guys can check out the full video under one of my Christmas gift ideas, but needless to say, ho ho ho, I have a machine gun. All right, moving on. So, what is this, you ask? Some of you probably already know. Some of you might have a good idea, but say it doesn't look quite right from what you know. So this is the Gsg16, German sports gun, model 16. They came out with a version of this called the Gsg5, which was way more like the proper MP5. So much, in fact, that they got sued by Heckler & Koch, and they stopped production. They didn't recall them, so you can still find them out there used. And the cool part is, if you're really lucky, I was too late to the game, they sell the lowers and a lot of other parts in a kit, so you can upgrade your Gsg16 to look a lot more like an MP5. And that was essentially production overrun of parts that they sold off to the public. How they got away with that, I don't know, but here we are. So Gsg16, not the Gsg5. Collapsible stock, and this does lock in place in multiple positions. There you go, full length. Slides back together, so we'll keep it together just for the video because it's a lot easier to handle. One thing that's not like an MP5 is your magazines. They do look like MP5 magazines. They hold, I think, 22 rounds. I wouldn't be surprised if you can fit a few more in there. Has a little storage spot there for one, and then of course you can put your magazine in there. Looks stupid, looks ridiculous, but it's convenient if you're out plinking and you're not caring what you look like, you're having fun. So the magazine, just like the MP5, you have a button, and you have, of course, the thing you're going to be using, the paddle release. Magazine's got hand followers, very easy to load these things. They are plastic. I tried coupling together. The couple, what ends up happening, I found, was as soon as you get any sort of tension on these, it jams the follower right there. So you can see just a tiny amount of tension, that follower is jammed. So you can't really couple these things together very well. I don't recommend it. It doesn't need it. If you want cool, I'll show you cool. I'll be right back, guys. Here is cool. So this is a drum magazine. It's 110 rounds. Again, I wouldn't be surprised if it holds more. Made in Germany, Gsg. I'll show you an example of their plant. It's actually in Eisenhofen, Germany. And I'll show you a photo of the plant, and I'll give you a little map to show you where they are in relation to Berlin and other places in Europe. I can tell you one thing, I was surprised how small the factory was in the photo, but that's beside the facts. Go back to this here. So I was going to say this is the fun drum. Forget the humdrum. Go for the fun drum. There you go. This thing actually weighs a fair bit. I don't know what it weighs, but has some markings on it. Gsg16 Cal 22 rifle, Canadian model. I'm assuming it's for international markets. In Canada, we have a pretty cool rule when it comes to things like 22. The main rule on a 22 is it's got to be 26.5 inches long. This is 28.5 inches long. So it fits inside Canadian laws. You can get another version of this where it has a fixed stock and a 9.25 inch barrel. I personally don't like it as much. I think if I were to do something like that, I'd probably just extend the stock and permanently lock it in place and then cut the barrel down. So that's beside the fact. So let's go back to the drum. 110 rounds. I've never actually used this gun yet. I got it during COVID, and I've been, so you can see there, you basically load it one at a time in the top, and then you just keep going. How long it's going to take this thing to load, I have no clue, but I imagine it's going to take a while. What it looks like in the gun. There you go. Kind of takes away from the MP5 look, but adds to what the hell look. 110 rounds. I don't know how long it's going to last, but I'd imagine hopefully some time. So that's the drum, and I would recommend getting one if you're going to get one of these guns, because that's why I bought it. They banned a bunch of other things like my my Jaeger 15 or the Army Jaeger. I'll show you a video on that. It's basically an M16 clone back in early 1960s for Europe. Only fires 22. but they banned it because it looks like an or looks like an M16. So back to this guy here, shall we go? So the barrel is 16 1/4, so that makes it legal in Canada. It's a minor round, so if this was something, anything other than 22, anything larger than a 22, this would be considered a restricted rifle because the barrel has to be 18 1/2, I believe, is the law in Canada. But so 16 1/2, I'm sure that's for the American market as well. This suppressor here is just a piece of metal that's to thicken up the barrel. You can see the barrel is 22. It's small. There's something rattling around in there. There's always something rattling in these stupid guns. Trigger is supposed to be at 5.5 pounds, adjustable. I haven't played with the adjustment on it. I just know it's the worst trigger out of everything I own. It makes a Mosin Nagant feel like a match trigger. This is shite. And shite is not swearing. Alright. So extended, it goes to 35.25 inches. Collapsed, it's 28.5 inches long. So again, complies with Canadian law. I don't know how that works with American law. I think you're okay. I don't know if you need the SBR. If anyone out there knows, I'd love to know what you guys think the legal requirements would be in the States. I know every state's a little bit different, but chime in and let me know. I'd like to know, actually. It's pretty lightweight. It's 5.84 pounds. It's got enough weight that it feels like you're holding a weapon, not a toy, so that's nice. The front sight is replaceable. Unfortunately, it does not have the loop, and the front section here, you can see, compared to the old MP5, is a little bit different. But what are you going to do? They had to skirt around the law there. This diopter sight is 3D printed. It's not the most durable sight in the world, but it looks the part, and it works. So, alright, here's some accidental bonus content. I literally just finished the video, and I was getting ready to put this back in my safe, and I bumped this against my chair, and I smashed my 3D printed part. So, I'll have to reprint that, but just so you know, the downsides of 3D printing. So much for that. You guys, I'll show you a photo of one of these in its stock configuration. You'll see that there's spots to mount rails at the, what is it, the 3, and I don't know what you guys call it. The 6 o'clock to 3 o'clock, and I don't know the other side because I have a digital watch. What, 3, 6, 9, I guess? Anyways, plastic rails, not a big fan of that. Plastic just doesn't hold up over time. This is stock. So it actually would extend all the way to the front, but I don't know why you'd want a rail to the front, so I 3D printed this filler here, and it just uses the same screw holes. These designs are all available online. Same thing with this larger hand grip here, which really brings that MP5 look back to this thing, in my opinion. With the stock on the stock setting the way it is, doesn't look MP5 to me. It's vaguely. So going to the butt here, this is actually the other way around. So I've taken this and I've modified it. You can see this kind of coloration here change. I had to sand a little bit to clear the frame, but flipped it around. It's under a bit more higher spring tension being flipped around than I'd like, but it functions just as well. Again, you also have Picatinny rail, well, not Picatinny, yeah, I guess Picatinny rail up at the top here. I don't know why you'd want that there. I haven't seen any accessories that attach to that. I guess you could maybe put another sling mount there or something. You got me. So that's pretty much the extent of this. The charging handle, you can do the MP5 H&K slap, which is kind of nice. I wish this looked a little more like an MP5, but I guess they just got really scared from that lawsuit and didn't want to have anything too close to the MP5. Everything is MP5-ish. You got your serial number. You have your caliber. This is Blue Line Solutions. Is where it was imported from. You have a little CIPN. I'm assuming that's probably some sort of Canadian marking. A read manual before use. Safe fire. Ambidextrous. You can reprint. You can reprint. You can print more accurate versions of these as well. I just haven't gotten around to it. You also have the GSG cast into the plastic frame, Gsg16, made in Germany. All that stuff that Americans need to import their rifles. You can't do anything with the buttstock. I wish you could, but it is what it is. And when it comes to disassembly on this, it's not a peach. It's not a peach because it's not a military gun. So you can't just pop out pins and start your disassembly. So a little note about the MP5, going back a bit. So the MP5 was, like I said, first adopted by the German police in 1964 and border guards. And that's really the start of it. It kind of took off like wildfire from there. They adopted it as the HK64. The original designation was HK54, I believe. The MP5 suppressed came out in 1974. There are reports of Navy SEALs using the suppressed version in Vietnam, but I imagine 1974, it's pretty late, so couldn't have seen too much use, but still cool history. And of course, everybody who's ever seen any 1980s movie, you'll see an MP5. Not normally the suppressed. I personally kind of think the suppressed is cooler functioning, but when it comes to just standard Christmas movies like Die Hard, the classic MP5 is where it's at. Of course, most police departments replace these in their duty vehicles, and after that, the 1994 North Hollywood shootout, they replaced them with AR-15s, which is a better solution, but that's a whole other can of worms. What's the better submachine gun or assault rifle? That assault rifle exists. Okay, I'm gonna get that over with. I used the term assault rifle, so forgive me. Anyways, back to that. I totally went off on a tangent there. Yeah. So they're falling out of favor. Obviously, you have modern versions, and the Great White Buffalo, the MP7, which everybody wants, but won't sell a semi-automatic version to the public. I would say not yet, but time will tell. In Canada, things are getting tough, so we'll probably never see them here. But hopefully they'll get them in the States, and I can go down there and play with somebody's. Yeah. So let's get into a little bit of disassembly here. Alright, so we're ready to disassemble. To be honest, this isn't the worst gun to disassemble. I'll give you a quick fire, actually. It's okay. So, take the tension off by firing. You take this one screw out in the back here, which is a pain because it's a double-sided thing. So this is not meant for quick disassembly or field stripping. Oops, I don't know what that was. You can see why I'm not a big fan of this, guys? There we go, broke the tension. Undoing the screw. So one half is a very tiny, very fine threaded screw. Flip that over. Punch it through. Do not lose these. Now that that's done, slide the back off. Not bad. Give you a little look down there. Forgot which camera I'm using, actually. Alright. So there's the back end. And you'll see that big silver block in there. And the exposure's a little off, but there's an Allen key on that there. Also, it's the... Sorry, guys, it's not the clearest video there, but not important. It's literally just a silver block and one screw, so you're not missing much. Find the right sized Allen key thingamajiggy. Hex head, whatever you want to call it. Of course, I probably won't have one in my gun set that fits, because why would it? I think that's close enough. Nope, is it? Yes, it is. Just barely close enough. Remember, guys, don't strip out your hex heads if you don't have the right size. Stop, take your time. There's the screw. It's locked in place. I'll leave it locked in place. And then that little silver thing there slides down and falls out. So that's pretty much the only thing stopping that bolt from smashing you in the face. It's a 22 blowback. It's not that bad. I imagine if this failed, it probably just popped some plastic in here, and you'd know pretty quick something went wrong. All right, so now that that's done, what you want to do is get that out. Right. What I forgot to do was take off the trigger group. And of course, this trigger group is the same pin as the last one, which is not fun. So, screwdriver on both sides, break the tension. The one thing that is kind of nice, these are knurled. I don't know if that's for retention or removal, but either way, it's kind of nice. It helps. Yeah, so you gotta take the trigger group off. Sorry, guys. There you go. Trigger group off. Now your bolt and everything comes up the back. And the number one thing that happens that really sucks, you got to be really careful of, is this. There's a little piece in here, the ejector. It rides up and down and can actually fall out very easily. So be very careful of that part. Don't go waving your upper around. This one doesn't want to fall out right now, but the first time I did this, it just came right out. And so be careful. That little piece right in there, you can see that silver piece. That can fall out very easily. Other than that, at this point, you're pretty much down to your maintenance, your field strip. Like I said, it's not a military weapon, so don't go further than this. You can get your cleaning rod directly into the back, out the front. Your bolt. It's a heavy bolt. It's a lot of it doesn't actually reciprocate. Essentially, this is a receiver. Since everything else is made out of plastic, all this black here, that's pretty much your receiver, believe it or not. And this here is your bolt in the silver. You can see it. Here we go. You can see it that way better. That's your bolt. Again, I don't recommend going too far because, again, it's not a military rifle. I keep saying that, but I think it's important to get through. If you wanted to disassemble this further, you would have to take out all these screws, which is not really necessary. I think if I wanted to clean this, I'd probably just throw the whole thing into an ultrasonic cleaner. And go that route. If it's really dirty, go ahead and take it apart. I've never fired it, but I can see it's been test fired. There's a little bit of schmuck up in the recessed area there for the where the extractor is. So that's the strip down of this. It's good to know because the manual is okay, but it's always better to see it in person. Assembly is the reverse. So that little metal piece is going to get in the way, of course. That little metal piece, so you guys know, in there, like I said, it goes up and down. You can see there. It's got to be in a down position. Ow! You can slide your bolt back in. No force required there. Trigger group here. Have a look at that. Your hammer. Pretty heavy hammer. I'm not sure what that does in the gun, believe it or not. I need to actually examine it a bit closer. I looked at it earlier. You're supposed to be able to adjust the trigger pull. I haven't looked into that. Sorry, guys. But I believe this is a weighted piece too in the grip, which is why you don't have any storage or anything in there. You can see the hammer spring. It's a nice little package. I don't particularly like the way it feels. You got a lot of take up. You hit a wall, creep, and then drop. There's no snap. It's just creep, mushy, mushy, and then bang. But again, plinking, perfectly fine. New shooters, perfectly fine. Are you gonna take a deer at 300 yards? I hope you're not gonna try with a 22. So don't worry about that. Go out and have fun, guys. Reassembly is, like I said, just a reverse. So the back part slides in a little bit there. So that's kind of the key to that there. The screws and the pins don't really matter a ton which direction they go in, but however you like. One has a hole, one has a flat side. I don't go crazy cranking these things down. They don't need it. Just essentially snug is all you need. Put that back on. The hardest part about this is actually getting the silver piece back in. It only goes one way, but you can kind of tell it has a similar shape here. So this goes back in. This is one thing that's hard to show. There we go. There's a little recess there that top of this fits into, which is why you see it sliding. So get that back in there. See, it's crooked. I gotta get that straight. Like I said, this is the pain part of this reassembly. Get nice level. Keep pushing around. There we go. Oh, that. Hang on. I think I put it in upside down. I did. So I was wrong, guys. So the hole goes in the bottom. Smooth side towards the front. Hole in the bottom. I don't think it would matter if you got the smooth side and the rough side confused. There you go. A little push forward to help bring that home. Again, it's basically being held in place by the receiver, the plastic part of the receiver, so don't go crazy cranking this thing down. I don't think there's any torque specs. It's just snug and you're done. Alright, so stock. Pin straight through. Of course, drop your important bits on the floor. Screw back in. With a fine screw, be double extra sure you're not accidentally stripping the threads. I'll probably switch these up to pins if I can find them, because it would just make things so much easier. Not too sure what to do about that silver block on the inside to make stripping easier, but... And click, you're ready to go. Alright guys, that is last video for today. I hope you guys enjoyed it. Now you get to see my mouse. Hope you guys enjoy it. Stay tuned for more content like this. And please like and subscribe, and if there's anything I did wrong that you'd want to see more of, or anything I did right, I really do like your comments. You guys have been amazingly supportive and positive, which is not what I was expecting from the internet. So thank you guys very much, and I hope you will stay tuned for more, and like and subscribe. See you in the next video. Bye-bye.